My brothers and sisters, let me tell you something right now. Life will test you. Life will shake you. Life will push you to the edge where you feel like you can't take another step, can't cry another tear, can't lift your head one more time. The weight of your burdens may feel unbearable, the struggles unrelenting, the battles unending. But I came here to tell you today that God won't let you break. You may bend, but you won't snap. You may stumble, but you won't fall. You may weep, but you won't be consumed, because the God you serve is not in the business of letting his children crumble under the weight of their trials. You are built for this, you are equipped for this, and if you hold on, if you trust him, if you refuse to let go, you will see the power of God move in your life in a way that will make every storm, every setback, every tear make sense. Somebody shout, I won't break. There comes a time in your life when you feel like you have given everything you have, and still it's not enough. When you have prayed every prayer, cried every tear, called on every scripture you know, and still the weight of what you are carrying feels like it's going to crush you. When you wake up in the morning and the first thing on your mind is the struggle, the heartbreak, the disappointment, the pain that won't seem to let you go. When you go to bed at night and your thoughts are restless, your spirit is weary, your body is exhausted, and you wonder if you have the strength to do it all again tomorrow. That's when God steps in. That's when God shows up. That's when he reminds you that his strength is made perfect in your weakness. You see, sometimes God will let you come to the very edge of yourself so you can see that it was never your strength that was keeping you, never your wisdom that was sustaining you, never your power that was making a way for you. Sometimes God will let the weight get so heavy that you can't carry it alone, because he never intended for you to carry it by yourself in the first place. You were never meant to hold it all together. You were never meant to fight every battle alone. You were never meant to figure it all out on your own. That's why his word says, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. That's why he says, cast your cares upon me because I care for you. That's why he declares, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned, because he knows there will be days when the weight is too much for you, days when the tears won't stop falling, days when your hands feel too weak to keep holding on. But those are the very moments when he carries you. You think you're standing on your own 2 feet, but really it's his strength holding you up. You think you're making it through on your own willpower, but really it's his grace sustaining you. You think you managed to keep going by your own determination, but really it's his mercy keeping you from falling apart. See, the enemy wants you to believe that your weakness is a sign of failure, that your exhaustion is proof that you can't make it, that your struggle means you're about to break. But the devil is a liar, because the truth is your weakness is an invitation for God to show up. Your exhaustion is an opportunity for him to carry you. Your struggle is a platform for him to display his power in your life. So don't be afraid of being weak. Don't be ashamed of feeling tired. Don't be discouraged by the moments when you feel like you can't go on, because those are the very moments when God steps in with his supernatural strength and says, my child, you are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten, and you will not break. The enemy wants to convince you that because you feel weak, you are defeated. But the truth is, you are just getting ready for a breakthrough. The truth is, you are about to see God move in a way you never imagined. The truth is, you are positioned for a miracle, because when your strength runs out, that's when God's strength begins. So don't give up, don't give in, don't let the pressure convince you that you are going to be crushed, because the hand of God is on your life and he will not let you break. Pain is something that every person will encounter at some point in their lives. Pain is the great equalizer. It does not discriminate. It does not ask for permission. It does not come when it is convenient. Pain comes like a storm without warning. Pain shows up in the midnight hour. Pain interrupts our plans. Pain shakes our faith. Pain challenges everything we thought we knew about God and about ourselves. But I came to tell you that pain is not just suffering. Pain is not just Struggle pain is not just something to be endured. Pain has a purpose. Pain is the place where God does his greatest work. Pain is the place where God shapes you, molds you, refines you. Pain is the place where you discover strength. You did not know you had faith. You did not know you needed endurance. You did not know you could develop. Pain will make you question God. But pain will also introduce you to a deeper revelation of who he is. Pain will make you wonder if you are going to survive, but pain will also prove to you that God is your sustainer. Pain will strip you of everything you thought you could rely on so that you can learn to rely on him alone. Pain will expose your weaknesses, but pain will also reveal his strength. Pain will break down everything you thought was stable so that God can build something that will never be shaken. Pain is not wasted. Pain is not random. Pain is not without reason. God does not allow pain without a plan. God does not permit suffering without a strategy. God does not let you go through the fire without the intention of bringing you out as pure gold. You see, we often think that pain is an interruption to our purpose, but pain is actually a part of our purpose. We think that pain is something to get past, but pain is something to go through. We think that pain is a punishment, but pain is a preparation, because on the other side of pain, there is power. On the other side of pain, there is transformation. On the other side of pain, there is a testimony. You are not just going through this for no reason. You are not just enduring this for nothing. You are not crying these tears just because. Every tear, every struggle, every disappointment, every heartbreak is being used by God to produce something in you that could not be developed any other way. Some things can only be learned in the fire. Some strength can only be built in the struggle. Some power can only be released in the pressing. Oil does not flow until the olive is crushed. Diamonds do not shine until they have been under intense pressure. Gold is not purified until it has been through the fire. And the greatness that is inside of you will not emerge until you have walked through the valley of pain. Because pain teaches you things that comfort never could. Pain shows you who you really are. Pain strips away everything that is unnecessary so that only what is essential remains. Pain pushes you beyond your limits so that you can see that your limits were never real in the first place. Pain draws you closer to God, because when nothing else makes sense, he becomes your only option. When nothing else is stable, he becomes your only foundation when nothing else can sustain you. He becomes your source when you are in pain. You pray different when you are in pain. You worship different when you are in pain. You seek God in a way that you never did before. Pain will take you to a level of faith that you never knew was possible. Pain will push you into a deeper place. With God, pain will strip away your pride. Pain will remove your self-sufficiency. Pain will humble you. Pain will purify your heart. Pain will transform your perspective. Pain will change your priorities. Pain will make you see what really matters. Pain will shift your focus from the temporary to the eternal. Pain will separate the real from the fake. Pain will show you who is really for you. Pain will reveal what you really believe. Pain will expose what is weak and strengthen what is strong. Pain will birth purpose inside of you, because once you have been through the fire, you cannot help but come out different. Once you have survived what should have destroyed you, you cannot help but walk with greater authority. Once you have seen God move in the middle of your suffering, you cannot help but trust him on another level. Once you have made it through what you thought would break you, you cannot help but be a testimony to others. God is using this pain to birth something greater in you. God is using this pain to push you into your next level. God is using this pain to increase your anointing. God is using this pain to expand your capacity. God is using this pain to align you with your destiny. God is using this pain to position you for a blessing that you could not have handled before. God is using this pain to prepare you for what is coming next, because when you come out of this, you will not be the same. When you come out of this, you will not be weak. When you come out of this, you will not be broken. When you come out of this, you will not be Defeated, when you come out of this, you will be stronger. When you come out of this, you will be wiser. When you come out of this, you will be more powerful. When you come out of this, you will be unstoppable, because God does not allow pain without purpose. God does not allow suffering without strategy. God does not allow trials without transformation. And when it is all said and done, you will look back and realize that the very thing you thought was going to break you was actually the thing that made you everything you were created to be. The fire is not here to destroy you. The fire is here to refine you. The fire is not here to consume you. The fire is here to purify you. The fire is not a punishment. The fire is a process. The fire is the place where everything that is not like God is burned away. The fire is where faith is tested. The fire is where faith is strengthened. The fire is where faith is purified, because faith that has never been tested cannot be trusted. Faith that has never been refined cannot be. Strong faith that has never been through the fire cannot withstand the storms of life. And God is allowing you to go through the fire, not to break you, but to build you, not to weaken you, but to make you unshakable, not to harm you, but to prepare you. Because there are some things in you that can only come forth when the heat is turned up. There are some things in you that will only be revealed when the pressure is applied. There are some things in you that will only be refined. When you go through the fire exposes what is weak. The fire reveals what is impure. The fire separates what is temporary from what is eternal. And God is using the fire to refine your faith, to remove every doubt, to strip away every fear, to burn away every insecurity. Because when you come out of this, your faith will not be the same. When you come out of this, your trust in God will not be shaken. When you come out of this, you will know that you know that you know that God is who he says. He is. The fire is not comfortable. The fire is not easy. The fire is not pleasant, but the fire is necessary, because gold does not become pure without fire. Silver does not shine without being refined. Diamonds do not emerge without intense pressure, and your faith will not reach its full strength without the fire. The fire will make you pray differently. The fire will make you seek God like never before. The fire will make you depend on him completely. Because when you are in the fire, you cannot rely on yourself. When you are in the fire, you cannot depend on people. When you are in the fire, you cannot trust in your own strength. The fire will push you into total surrender. The fire will cause you to let go of control. The fire will force you to lean on God in a way you never have before. And that is exactly where God wants you, because faith is not about what you see. Faith is not about what you feel. Faith is not about what you make sense. Faith is believing, even when everything around you says otherwise. Faith is trusting, even when the fire is raging. Faith is standing firm, even when everything is shaking. Faith is declaring that God is still good, even when life is hard. Faith is holding on, even when you do not understand. Faith is refusing to bow, even when the flames are getting hotter, and God is using the fire to take your faith to a deeper level. God is using the fire to purify your heart. God is using the fire to refine your spirit, because when you come through this, your faith will not be fragile. Your faith will not be weak. Your faith will not be easily shaken. When you come through this, your faith will be strong. Your faith will be unmovable. Your faith will be battle tested. Your faith will be fireproof, because you will have walked through the flames and not been burned. You will have gone through the heat and not been consumed. You will have endured the pressure and not been crushed, because God does not allow the fire to destroy. He allows the fire to develop. He allows the fire to transform. He allows the fire to prepare. And if you are in the fire, it means that God is doing something in you. It means that God is refining something through you. It means that God is getting ready to bring something out of you, because when you come out of this, you will have a faith that can move mountains. You will have a faith that cannot be intimidated. You will have a faith that does not waver in the face of opposition. You will have a faith that stands firm no matter what comes against it, because refined faith is unshakable faith. Refined faith is unstoppable faith. Refined faith is kind of faith that makes hell nervous. Refined faith is the kind of faith that changes generations. Refined faith is the kind of faith that walks through fire and still declares God is good. And that is the kind of faith God is producing in you. That is the kind of faith God is birthing in you. That is the kind of faith God is developing in you. And when you come out of this fire, you will not be the same. When you come out of this fire, you will not be weak. When you come out of this fire, you will not be broken. You will be stronger. You will be wiser. You will be bolder. You will be more anointed. You will be more powerful, because your faith is being refined in the fire. And when the refining is complete, you will step into everything that God has prepared for you with a faith that is unbreakable, with a confidence that is unshakable, with a trust that cannot be destroyed, because the fire did not consume you. The fire confirmed you. The fire did not break. You, the fire, built you. The fire did not weaken you. The fire made you ready for the next level. God's hand is holding you even when you cannot feel it. God's hand is sustaining you even when everything around you feels like it is falling apart. God's hand is guiding you even when you do not know which way to turn. God's hand is covering you even when you feel exposed and vulnerable. God's hand is strengthening you even when you feel too weak to go on. God's hand is lifting you up even when life is trying to push you down, because God does not let go. God does not abandon. God does not release his grip just because you are struggling, just because you are weary, just because you are going through a season of uncertainty. His hand is still there. His presence is still with you. His power is still working on your behalf, even when you cannot see it, even when you cannot trace it, even when you do not understand it, because God is not moved by what you feel. God is not swayed by what you see. God is not shaken by what you are going through. He is constant. He is unchanging. He is faithful, and his hand is still holding you through every trial, through every storm, through every valley, through every dark night, through every unanswered prayer, through every moment when you question if he is still there. He has never left. He has never turned his back. He has never walked away. His hand has been on you since the beginning. His hand has been keeping you even when you did not realize it. His hand has been protecting you from dangers, seen and unseen. His hand has been making ways for you before you even knew you needed them. His hand has been opening doors for you that you never even knew were locked. His hand has been covering you from attacks that you did not even know were forming. His hand has been orchestrating things in the background, setting things in motion, aligning things for your good, because he is not just holding you, he is leading you, he is guiding you, he is directing your steps, even when the path feels unclear, even when you do not know what is next, even when you feel like you are walking in the dark. His hand is still there, because his word says that he will never leave you nor forsake you. His word says that he upholds you with his righteous right hand. His word says that he is a refuge, a fortress, a strong tower, a hiding place. His word says that he is close to the brokenhearted, that he saves those who are crushed in spirit, that he is near to those who call on him. Even when it feels like he is distant, even when it feels like he is silent, even when it feels like he has removed his hand, his presence has never left, because feelings are not facts. Emotions do not define reality. Silence does not mean absence. The absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Just because you cannot feel him does not mean he is not there. Just because you cannot hear him does not mean he is not speaking. Just because you cannot see the way does not mean he has not made one, because God does not operate based on human perception. God does not move according to what we think or what we see or what we feel. He moves according to his will, his purpose, his divine plan. And even when life is shaking, Even when everything is shifting, even when you feel lost and alone, his hand is still steady. His grip is still firm. His presence is still unshakable because he has carried you through things that should have broken you. He has kept you through battles that should have destroyed you. He has sustained you through trials that should have consumed you. And if his hand has been on you before, then his hand is still on you now because he does not change. He does not let go. He does not give up. He does not withdraw his love. He does not walk away when things get hard. He does not abandon his children when they are struggling. He holds them tighter. He surrounds them more. He walks even closer. He reaches into the darkest places, into the lowest valleys, into the most painful moments, and he lifts you, he strengthens you, he upholds you because his grip is stronger than your fear, his hold is stronger than your weakness, his power is greater than your struggle. And even when you cannot feel it, even when you cannot sense it, even when you are at your lowest, his hand is still there because his love does not waver. His promises do not fail. His presence does not diminish. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And the same hand that shaped the heavens is the same hand that is holding you now. The same hand that parted the seas is the same hand that is making a way for you. The same hand that calmed the storm is the same hand that is bringing peace to your situation. The same hand that lifted Peter when he was sinking is the same hand that is pulling you up right now. The same hand that carried you through before is the same hand that will carry you through again, because you are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are not overlooked. You are not abandoned. You are held. You are loved. You are secured by a God who never fails, by a Father who. The moment you feel like you cannot take another step, the moment you feel like you have nothing left, the moment you are ready to throw in the towel and walk away is the very moment that your breakthrough is about to be revealed. Because what feels like the end is often the place where God is getting ready to do something new. What feels like the point of breaking is actually the point where God is stretching you into the next level. What feels like the moment of collapse is actually the moment of transformation, because God will let you come to the end of yourself so that you can come into the fullness of him. God will allow everything around you to shake so that you can see that he is the only unshakable foundation. God will let you reach the place where your strength, what was meant to break you, will bless you. What the enemy designed to destroy you will be the very thing God uses to develop you. What was sent to take you out will be the very thing that lifts you up. What was supposed to weaken you will be the very thing that strengthens you, because God has a way of turning the attacks of the enemy into the anointing that pushes you forward. God has a way of taking the pain that was meant to crush you and using it to create purpose in you. God has a way of shifting the very thing that was meant for your downfall into the setup for your destiny, because the enemy thought that the betrayal would make you bitter, but God is using it to make you better. The enemy thought that the loss would leave you empty, but God is using it to fill you with something greater. The enemy thought that the storm would leave you stranded, but God is using it to move you into your next season, because God never wastes a wound. God never ignores an attack. God never lets suffering be for nothing. He takes what was meant for evil and turns it for good. He takes what was sent to destroy and turns it into deliverance. He takes what was designed to hurt and turns it into healing. And the very thing that should have broken you beyond repair is the very thing God is using to build you into something unstoppable. The heartbreak that tried to destroy you is birthing a new level of faith in you. The disappointment that tried to cripple you is unlocking a deeper trust in God. The hardship that tried to shake you is teaching you that God is your firm foundation, because the enemy thought he had you. The enemy thought the weight of what you were carrying would crush you. The enemy thought the pressure you were under would make you give up, but he underestimated the power of God inside of you. He underestimated the resilience that God has placed in your spirit. He underestimated the way God would take what was sin against you and turn it into the very thing that launches you forward. Because God does not just bring you through a trial, he transforms you in the trial. God does not just allow a test, he uses the test to produce a testimony. God does not just let you endure the fire. He refines you in the fire. And when you come out of this, when you come through this, when you step into what is next, you will not just be surviving, you will be thriving. You will not just be getting by, you will be walking in abundance. You will not just be healed, you will be whole, because what was meant to break you will bless you. The sleepless nights, the moments of doubt, the seasons of struggle, the times you thought you would not make it are all working together for your good. They are all pushing you closer to your purpose. They are all shaping you for what is coming next, because God is not just restoring, he is elevating. God is not just healing, making all things new. God is not just bringing you out, he is bringing you into something greater. And the very thing that was meant to take you out will be the very thing that God uses to take you up the very storm that was supposed to drown. You will be the very storm that carries you to your next destination. The very opposition that was meant to break, you will be the very opposition that builds you, because God does not allow pain without purpose. He does not allow attacks without advancement. He does not allow setbacks without setups. And if you are going through it, then you can be sure that God is getting ready to use it for something greater. The enemy wanted you to give up. The enemy wanted you to lose hope. The enemy wanted you to believe that it was over, but the enemy does not have the final say. The enemy does not write your story. The enemy does not determine your destiny. And everything that was meant to work against you is about to start working for you. Every weapon that was formed is about to be dismantled. Every lie that was spoken is about to be silenced. Every trap that was set is about to be reversed, because what was meant for evil, God is turning for good. What was sent to stop you, God is using to accelerate you. What was meant to break you, God is using to bless you. And when you look back on this season, when you look back on everything you thought would take you out, when you look back on the tears, the struggles, the prayers, the nights you thought you would not make it, you will see that every single thing was working together for your good. Every single challenge was producing something greater in you. Every single hardship was developing something unshakable in you. And what was meant to break you was actually positioning you for a blessing. You never expected a breakthrough. You never imagined a future that is greater than anything you could have dreamed, because what the enemy meant for evil, God is turning for good. What was meant to bury you, God is using to build you. What was meant to defeat you, God is using to develop you. And what was sent to break you will be the very thing that blesses you beyond measure. You may have been pressed, but you have not been crushed. You may have been shaken, but you have not been destroyed. You may have walked through fire, but you have not been consumed, because the hand of God has been on you every step of the way. Every trial, every storm, every battle was not meant to break you, was meant to build you. What the enemy thought would destroy you only made you stronger. What life tried to take from you, God is restoring in greater measure. What seemed like the end was only the beginning of something greater. You are still here because God's purpose for you is not finished. You are still standing because his strength has been your foundation. You are still moving forward because his grace has been carrying you. So don't give up now. Don't quit in the middle of the process. Don't let the weight of the struggle convince you that you are alone. The same God who brought you through before will bring you through again. The same God who sustained you in the past will sustain you in the present. The same God who spoke life over you is still speaking. And he is saying, you will not break. The pressure will not break you. The pain will not break you. The waiting will not break you, because God is holding you together. God is strengthening you for what's ahead. God is molding you, refining you, and preparing you for greater. You are coming out of this stronger. You are coming out of this wiser. You are coming out of this with a testimony that will shake the very foundations of hell And when you stand on the other side of this storm, you will look back and see that God was there all along, working, moving, shaping, lifting, and proving once again that he will never let you break.